Isn't it fascinating how a single person can change the very fabric of something as grand as the English stage? Well, George Bernard Shaw was precisely that sort of person. He was a playwright. He was a critic. He was a political activist. He was, quite frankly, a professional provocateur. Born in Dublin in 1856, he wielded his pen like a surgeon's scalpel. He dissected the absurdities of society with unparalleled wit and intelligence. He wasn't just writing plays, he was holding up a mirror to the world. Really, is this the best you can do? His importance lies not just in the brilliant comedies he wrote, but in the powerful ideas inside them. Ideas that challenged the class system. Ideas that challenged the very notion of what a woman could be. He was a true intellectual giant, and a rather amusing one. Shaw wasn't born into the literary elite. His beginnings in Dublin were unconventional. His father, an unsuccessful corn merchant with a fondness for the bottle. His mother, a professional singer who left to teach music in London. Young George worked as a clerk, a job he utterly despised. That early life gave him a unique perspective. He saw the pretenses and pitfalls of social standing firsthand. Shaw's early life in Dublin was the crucible in which his unique worldview was forged. Imagine a young boy, largely self-educated, wandering through the National Gallery of Ireland, absorbing art and culture on his own terms. He was not a product of the formal, rigid education system of the time. Instead, he was a product of his own insatiable curiosity. His time spent as a junior clerk in a land agent's office was, for him, a soul-crushing experience. He described it as a prison, a place that stifled his spirit. But it gave him an intimate understanding of bureaucratic machinery. In 1876, at the age of 20, Shaw left Dublin. He followed his mother and sisters to London, arriving with little money but an enormous reserve of ambition. The London he entered was the heart of the British Empire, immense wealth, abject poverty. He threw himself into this new world with gusto, determined to make his name as a writer. His first years were incredibly difficult. He wrote 5 novels in quick succession, all rejected. He lived in genteel poverty, supported largely by his mother. This period was also a time of profound intellectual growth. He became a vegetarian. He became a passionate advocate for socialism. He joined the Fabian Society and found his intellectual home. George Bernard Shaw didn't just write plays. He reinvented what a play could be. He saw the stage as his pulpit and as his laboratory. His career blossomed in the late 1890s and early 20th century. He cemented his reputation as a literary giant. He penned a string of masterpieces that dissected English society with surgical precision. Mrs. Warren's Profession tackled the economic roots of prostitution. It was banned from public performance. Arms and the Man deflates romantic ideals of war, suggesting a soldier is more interested in chocolate than glory. Each play was a new front in his war against convention. Man and Superman introduced the life force, an idea of creative evolution. Major Barbara examined religion, capitalism, and poverty. St. Joan is a deeply human portrait of Joan of Arc. Not just a saint, but an intellectual force crushed by institutions. Shaw made history speak to modern concerns. What made Shaw special was his wit and his wisdom. He mastered paradox and the clever turn of phrase that makes you laugh then think. His characters are not puppets, they argue and think. A Shaw play is a thrilling argument brought to life. He used laughter to make audiences receptive to radical ideas. Of all Shaw's brilliant plays, none has captured the public imagination quite like Pygmalion. It is, on the surface, a simple and enchanting story. Henry Higgins, brilliant, arrogant. Higgins, a professor of phonetics, believes speech defines class. He makes a casual bet with Colonel Pickering. Covent Garden, they will find a common flower girl. Eliza Doolittle, proud, witty, fiercely independent. Her Cockney accent is as thick as a London fog. Her transformation is the heart of the play. The story unfolds as a battle of wills between the tyrannical Higgins and his determined pupil. Higgins treats Eliza as a scientific project. He drills her relentlessly on vowel sounds and consonants, completely oblivious to her feelings, oblivious to her dignity, oblivious to her humanity. She endures his bullying because she has her own ambition. She doesn't want to be a duchess. She simply wants to be respectable enough to work in a flower shop. Her transformation is a stunning success. She masters accent, grammar, and poise. She wins Higgins's bet, proving class distinctions are artificial. Speech and dress can pass you into another world. But at what cost? Eliza, too refined for her old life but without means, faces a crisis of independence. She would rather work honestly or marry Freddie than be a plaything for Higgins. In the final act, she furiously rejects dependency. The play does not end as the myth does. She has not just changed her accent, she has changed her soul. The legacy of George Bernard Shaw is as vast and vibrant as his magnificent beard. He fundamentally altered the trajectory of English language theater. He pulled it away from sentimental fluff. He pushed it toward intellectual engagement, theater as arena for debate. This fusion of comedy and social commentary influenced countless playwrights. Noel Coward, Tom Stoppard, and more owe a debt to Shaw. Pygmalion has become a modern myth, a cornerstone of popular culture. It was adapted into the beloved musical and film, My Fair Lady. The musical softened Shaw's ending into a conventional romance. Why does his work still feel relevant in 2025? Because the issues he grappled with remain with us. We still live with social and economic inequality. We still judge people by their accents. Education still matters. Social mobility remains elusive. Shaw's belief in human potential feels urgent. Ultimately, his greatest legacy is unshakable optimism in the human spirit. He believed in our capacity for reason and growth. Self-improvement is a path to liberation, not just social climbing. He believed in our capacity for change. Through Eliza Doolittle, he showed a person is not defined by origins. A person is defined by will and intellect. He championed the underdog and the free thinker. He championed the woman who refuses to be anything less than her own person. For that, and for the sheer joy of his language, we remain profoundly in his debt.